Elena stood in the grand hall of the pack house, her heart pounding like a war drum in her chest. The air was thick with the scent of pine and wolf musk, but all she could smell was betrayal. Alpha King Lucian, her fated mate, towered on the raised platform, his dark eyes cold as steel, scanning the crowd without a flicker of emotion. He'd called the gathering to announce his choice for Luna, and Elena had dared to hope foolishly, desperately that it would be her. But when his gaze finally landed on her, it wasn't with love. It was with dismissal. "Elena," he said, his voice booming like thunder, "you are not fit to stand by my side. I reject you as my mate." The words sliced through her like claws, ripping open her soul. Gasps rippled through the pack, but Elena couldn't hear them over the roar in her ears. Her knees buckled, but she forced herself to stay upright, her kind heart shattering into 1,000 pieces. She'd loved him in silence for years, tending to the pack's wounds, offering quiet comfort to the lost and broken. But to him, she was nothing, just a weak omega with no power, no fire. Tears burned her eyes, but she blinked them back. "Why?" she whispered, her voice barely audible, but he heard. He always heard. "Because you're ordinary," Lucian replied, his tone flat, emotionless. "I need a queen who matches my strength, not this." He gestured vaguely at her, as if she were a stray pup. The hall erupted in murmurs, but Elena turned and fled, her wolf howling inside her, the bond snapping like a brittle bone. She ran into the night, the moon mocking her from above, until her legs gave out in the forest, collapsed against a tree. She clutched her chest, gasping. The pain was physical, a burning agony that made her curl into herself. How could fate be so cruel? She'd given everything, her loyalty, her gentleness, and it wasn't enough. Days blurred into weeks. Elena survived on the fringes of the territory, scavenging for food, avoiding the patrols. The rejection had left her wolf weakened, but something deep inside her stirred, a whisper of power she didn't understand. Dreams came at night, visions of silver fur and ancient howls, hinting she was more than the orphan omega everyone thought. But she pushed them down, focusing on the raw ache in her heart. Lucian's face haunted her, his cold dominance, a shadow she couldn't escape. Why did it still hurt so much? Why couldn't she hate him? One evening, as the sun dipped low, Elena stumbled upon a small clearing where a rogue wolf named Jox was camping. He wasn't like the others, tall, with an easy grin and eyes that sparkled with mischief. He offered her food without questions, his laughter light and infectious. "You look like you've been wrestling bears," he teased, handing her a strip of dried meat. Elena hesitated, her walls high, but his kindness cracked them just a little. "Something like that," she murmured, taking the food. For the first time in weeks, a small smile tugged at her lips. Jox leaned back against a log, strumming an old guitar he'd salvaged. "Well, if bears are involved, you need a good story to chase them off. Ever hear the one about the wolf who tried to moon the moon?" She shook her head, and he launched into a ridiculous tale, his voice animated, gestures wild. Elena found herself chuckling, the sound foreign after so much silence. It started small, a giggle, then built into real laughter, free, unburdened. Jox's eyes lit up, and he joined in, the clearing filled with their shared mirth. But in the shadows, unseen, Lucian watched. He'd been tracking rogues on the border, his alpha instincts on high alert. The sight of Elena laughing with another man hit him like a gut punch. That smile, it was the one she'd given him once, in quiet moments before he'd pushed her away. Jealousy roared through him, hot and possessive. His wolf snarled, claws extending. How dare this intruder claim what was his? Elena wiped a tear of laughter from her eye, feeling lighter than she had in ages. Jox reached out, brushing a leaf from her hair, his touch gentle. "See, laughter's the best medicine. You should do it more often." Before she could respond, a low growl shattered the peace. Lucian stepped into the clearing, his presence commanding, eyes glowing with feral intensity. "That smile is mine," he snarled, voice dripping with dominance. Elena's heart stopped. Lucian closed the distance in a blur, grabbing her wrist and pulling her against his chest. In front of Jox, whose face paled, Lucian cupped her face and crushed his lips to hers. The kiss was fierce, claiming, a storm of pent-up emotion that made her knees weak. His cold facade cracked just enough for her to taste the regret beneath raw, unspoken. She pushed against him, confusion and anger surging. "What are you?" But he silenced her with another kiss, deeper, his hands tangling in her hair. Jox backed away, muttering something about not wanting trouble. But Lucian's glare kept him frozen. When Lucian finally pulled back, his breath ragged, Elena stared up at him, her deep eyes swirling with hurt and unspoken questions. "You rejected me," she whispered, voice trembling, his jaw clenched, regret flickering in his gaze. But he didn't apologize. "Not yet. You're coming back with me." The words hung in the air, heavy with promise and threat. But as they stood there, a distant howl pierced the night, a warning from the pack. Something was coming, something dark that would test them both. Elena's hidden power stirred again, stronger this time, whispering of secrets that could change everything. Elena woke to the chill of dawn filtering through the cracks in the old cabin walls. It had been 3 months since Lucian's rejection, and every morning felt like reliving that moment in the hall. The pain hadn't dulled. It had burrowed deeper, a constant ache in her chest that made breathing hard. She'd found this abandoned shack on the edge of the territory, far from the pack's prying eyes. It was her sanctuary or her prison, depending on the day. She rose slowly, her body stiff from the hard floor. Mirror shards she'd scavenged showed a reflection she barely recognized, hollow cheeks, eyes shadowed with exhaustion. But beneath it all, that inexplicable spark lingered. Last night, the dreams had been vivid again, running through misty forests on paws that shimmered like moonlight, a voice calling her name with ancient reverence. She shook it off, focusing on survival. Kindness had always been her strength, but now it felt like a curse. Why help others when the world repaid her with abandonment? Venturing out for water, Elena moved quietly through the woods. The stream was her lifeline, cold and clear. As she knelt to fill her canteen, footsteps crunched behind her. She froze, her wolf senses tingling. "Easy there," a voice said, warm and non-threatening. Jocks emerged from the trees, hands raised. "Didn't mean to startle you. Saw you out here a few times. Figured you could use some company or at least a decent meal." Elena straightened, wary but intrigued. He wasn't pack. His scent was wild, untamed. "I'm fine on my own." He grinned, that easy charm disarming. "Sure you are, but fine doesn't mean you have to be alone." He held out a basket, fresh berries, bread, even a bit of cheese. "Traded for it in town. No strings." Her stomach growled, betraying her. She accepted it hesitantly, their fingers brushing. "Why? You don't know me." Jocks shrugged, sitting on a rock. "Call it intuition. You look like someone who's been through hell. And hell's easier with a friend." They talked as she ate simple things at first, the weather, the best hunting spots. Then Jocks told a story about getting chased by a flock of angry geese, his imitation spot on. Elena snorted, then laughed outright, the sound echoing in the quiet woods. It felt good, liberating. For a moment, the weight lifted, but miles away, in the pack house, Lucian paced his chambers. The rejection bond still echoed in his veins, a dull throb he couldn't ignore. He'd chosen power over emotion, convinced Elena's softness would weaken him. Yet every night, her face invaded his thoughts, her gentle smile, the way she'd cared for the pups without expecting praise. Regret gnawed at him, subtle but insistent. His beta, Marcus, knocked. Alpha, Rogue spotted near the border. One's been seen with her. Lucian's eyes narrowed, a possessive growl rumbling. "Show me." Elena spent more time with Jocks over the next weeks. He taught her survival tricks, like setting snares without scent trails. In return, she shared her knowledge of herbs, healing his old wounds with poultices. Their conversations deepened. She opened up about the rejection, tears stinging as she spoke. "He just threw me away, like I was nothing." Jocks's expression softened, his hand covering hers. "He's a fool. You're worth more than any alpha's throne." One afternoon, by the lake, Jocks juggled stones to cheer her up after a rough day. He dropped one on his foot, hopping comically. Elena burst into laughter, genuine and bright, her eyes crinkling. That's when Lucian arrived, silent as a shadow. Seeing her like that with him ignited something primal. His wolf demanded he claim what was his. He stepped forward, voice low and commanding. "Elena." She whirled, shock freezing her features. Jocks tensed, but Lucian ignored him, focusing on her. That laugh, it's not for him. Before she could protest, he pulled her close, his kiss fierce, dominating. In front of Jocks, he marked his territory, the world narrowing to just them. Her body responded despite herself, but her mind screamed confusion. Pulling back, Lucian whispered, "I was wrong, but you're mine." Elena's heart raced, torn between hurt and hope. Jocks backed off, hurt in his eyes. But as Lucian led her away, a sharp pain hit her, a vision flashing of dark forces gathering, her hidden power awakening. What was she becoming? Back at the pack house, tension simmered. Lucian had dragged Elena inside, his grip firm but not bruising. "You're staying," he declared, his voice broking no argument. She yanked her arm free, eyes blazing. "You don't get to decide that now. Not after what you did." His facade cracked, regret shadowing his features. "I thought I was protecting the pack, protecting you from my world, but seeing you with him." He ran a hand through his hair, vulnerability peeking through the cold alpha shell. Elena crossed her arms, her kind nature warring with the pain. "You broke me, Lucian. Do you even understand that?" He stepped closer, the air charged with slow burn heat. Their breaths mingled, his scent overwhelming wood smoke and power. "I do now," he admitted, voice rough. "Every day without you has been hell." She wanted to believe him, but trust was shattered. "Words aren't enough," a knock interrupted. Marcus, urgent. "Alpha, scouts report unusual activity. Shadows in the woods like nothing we've seen." Lucian's jaw tightened, but his eyes stayed on Elena. "We'll talk later." She wandered the halls, memories flooding back. In her old room, she found a hidden journal from her childhood, sketches of wolves with glowing eyes, notes about a lost lineage. The dreams intensified. She wasn't ordinary. Maybe she was a descendant of the moon goddess's line, her power suppressed until now. That night, Elena couldn't sleep. Lucian's presence pulled at her, the mate bond flickering back to life. She slipped out to the balcony, staring at the stars. Footsteps approached him. "Can't sleep?" he asked, voice softer than usual. She shook her head, vulnerability raw. "Everything's changing. I feel different." He stood beside her, their arms brushing, tension electric. "Tell me." As she opened up about the dreams, his expression shifted. "Recognition?" "Elena, there's something you need to know." A howl cut him off, chilling. From the trees, eyes glowed. "Intruders, not wolves, something darker." Lucian's body tensed, protective. "Stay behind me." But Elena's power surged, a silver light emanating from her skin. What was happening? The attackers lunged, chaos erupting. Lucian fought fiercely, but one slipped past, aiming for Elena. She raised her hand instinctively, a burst of energy repelling it. Lucian's eyes widened in shock. In the aftermath, panting, he turned to her. "What are you?" Before she could answer, Jocks appeared at the edge, wounded but alive. "Elena, we have to go. They're coming for you. The ancients know who you are." Lucian's growl was possessive. "She's not going anywhere with you." Elena stood between them, heart torn, power humming. Who was she really? And what price would her truth demand? Elena paced the room. Lucian had assigned her luxurious, but it felt like a cage. The kiss still burned on her lips, a mix of anger and desire she couldn't shake. His regret was palpable now, in the way he glanced at her during pack meetings, his cold demeanor thawing just for her. But he hadn't apologized, hadn't explained. It was all dominance, no vulnerability. She touched her neck, where the rejection scar throbbed faintly. Survival had made her stronger. The emotional struggle had forged steel in her gentle soul. Yet hints of her extraordinariness grew. Small things, like healing faster from cuts, sensing emotions in others. Was it the mate bond rekindling, or something more? Jocks had vanished after the kiss, but his words lingered. "You're worth more." It stung, the contrast to Lucian's rejection. One evening, as rain pounded the roof, Lucian entered without knocking. "We need to talk." Elena faced him, chin high. "About what?" "How you claimed me like property." He winced, regret flashing. "I was blind. Power blinded me. But you're in my blood, Elena. I can't let you go." The tension built, slow and intense. He stepped closer, his heat enveloping her. "Tell me you don't feel it." She did. God, she did. But she whispered, "Feeling isn't enough." His hand cupped her cheek, thumb tracing her lip. The world narrowed, breath sinking. Then a crash outside, glass shattering. They rushed to the window. Shadows moved in the storm, attackers breaching the borders. Lucian's eyes glowed amber. "Stay here." But Elena followed, her power stirring. In the fray, she saved a pup, her hands glowing as she healed its wound. Lucian saw, shock mixing with awe. As the battle ended, he pulled her aside. "You're not ordinary. I always knew." Deep down, before she could respond, a messenger arrived, pale, Alpha, the council demands her. They say she's the key to an ancient prophecy. Lucian's face hardened, possessive. Over my dead body. Elena's heart pounded. What prophecy? And as Jox's voice echoed from the darkness, Elena, come with me before it's too late, she realized the choice would shatter everything. The storm raged on, secrets unraveling. But the night held one more surprise. Elena clutched the ancient amulet she'd found in her journal, a family heirloom, pulsing with energy. The hints had culminated here. She was no ordinary wolf. Descendant of the lunar royals, her blood held the power to unite or destroy packs. The dreams made sense now, the whispers guiding her. Lucian had started opening up, his regret showing in quiet moments. Last night, he'd confessed over whiskey by the fire. I pushed you away because I feared losing control. You're my weakness, Elena, but also my strength. His words stirred her, the slow burn igniting. But trust was fragile. Jox reappeared, sneaking into the grounds. They're hunting you for that power. Come with me, I'll protect you without chains. Elena met him in the garden, conflicted. Jox made her laugh again, a story about dodging council spies. Her smile lit the night. Lucian watched from afar, jealousy boiling. He stormed in. That smile is mine, he growled, kissing her possessively in front of Jox. The kiss was electric, unresolved tension exploding. But as they broke apart, a arrow whistled through the air, grazing her arm. Assassins. Lucian shielded her, roaring, run. But Elena's power flared, revealing her true form, a majestic silver wolf with eyes like stars. The attackers fled, but the council's voice boomed in her mind. The prophecy begins. Lucian stared, regret and love warring. Elena, Jox shouted, we have to go now. Torn between them, her heart fracturing, Elena realized the real battle was just starting. What would she choose? And who would survive the war for her soul?